of colonization.
All right, we are, of course, bringing you the live coverage all the way from Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, where our own team, that is Daniel Kariuki, and many others are, of course, camping or pitching their camp there to give us the latest happenings in as far as the AUC chairmanship race is concerned. And, of course, a number of Kenyans just wishing Raila Odinga all the very best. But I also want to appreciate the guests who have made their way here in studio to give us a bit of analysis in as far as this journey is concerned. Gentlemen, even as we begin, I'm reminded that we had the first president and prime minister of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah, coming up very strongly, knowing the position of Ghana in as far as independence is concerned, because one of the things that is being pushed within the AU is that Africa becomes a strong continent. Now, Kwame Nkrumah was celebrated as a nationalist. He was celebrated as one of the Africa's foremost freedom fighters, a Pan-Africanism proponent, and all these things caught my attention. I'll be sharing some of his quotes very shortly. But let me just appreciate you and hear what you have to say in your opening remarks. Dr. Samuel Kitilewa, International Conflict Resolution Specialist. It's very good to see you, Dr.
Thank you.
How do you feel today?
I feel happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Happy?
I just feel good. I thank God I'm here.
All right.
Yes. To be able to appreciate the efforts that Honorable former Prime Minister Raila Odinga is, engaging in becoming the EOC chairperson. And I just want to say we wish him well, and we are really praying for him that he will clinch that position for the betterment of the African continent.
All right.
And Kenya, to be specific.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll come back to that because a number of people are either sharing happiness or anxiety. Let me hear from Dismas Mukua, who's a political analyst. It's very good to see you.
Same here.
This Saturday.
Yes.
How are you feeling today?
I'm on top of the world.
On top of the world?
Yes.
Why so?
I'm a very happy man.
Naturally or because of today?
No, naturally. But even for today, what is about to take place in Addis Ababa, in the Kenyan political history, could easily be described as a black swan event. It's one of those unique events which will take place and will alter Kenya's political trajectory. Because in the event that Mr. Raila Odinga becomes the chairman, and as Dr. has indicated, we wish him well, and we even castigate the many Kenyans, or rather not many Kenyans, a few Kenyans on social media who are supporting the gentleman from Djibouti and another one from Madagascar. In my view, when you've got a son of Kenya or a daughter of Kenya going for an international role, we must not export our parochial politics to Addis Ababa. Coming with all manner of posters, in my view, that is unacceptable. Because if Raila now becomes the chairman of Africa Union Commission, then he will exit the political space in Kenya, and there'll be fundamental things which will happen. For instance, ODM, for the first time, will become a democratic movement, because you'll have free, fair party primaries, and then with his exit, again, the many people have been winning political positions in ODM, not because they've got capacity and competence, but because they are seen to be aligned with Raila Odinga. So many people can tell you for a fact within the ODM strongholds, right now they're doing press-ups and having a Red Bull, knowing that if Mr. Raila Odinga becomes the chairman, then there'll be free, fair ODM party primaries. Then on the second level, in the unlikely event that he doesn't win, then he comes back to Nairobi and then mounts a challenge against William Samoei Ruto. Again, that will be another black swan event. Because all he'll need to do is to mend faces with Gen Z. A number of Gen Z say that he betrayed them, although nowhere is it indicated where they had an agreement that he was supposed to behave in a specific manner during the demonstrations. So if he doesn't win and he comes back, then again that will be another black swan event. But majority of the people want him to win, so that now we have a clean, fair playing field for both a political party as well as presidential elections.
It's interesting, the words of Dismas. In fact, just as opening remarks, first he's saying if Baba exits, then the ODM will for the first time become a democratic party. Yet it's called the Orange Democratic Movement. I do not know the irony behind that. But let me hear from Alenga Torestad, who is a policy and governance analyst. I'm very curious to understand or to hear your opening remarks to this matter, because so far we're looking at 3 candidates on this face-off, but also we have a bit of shift that will happen locally, as you've heard this must say. Karibu.
Thank you very much, Anki Doris, for welcoming me on this show today, and my fellow panelists. Karibuni sana also.
Thank you.
I think today is a momentous day for Africa and also Kenya, in the sense that a lot of things are going to be shaped tonight depending on what outcome comes from the AU elections. One, we could have Raila Odinga failing to get the seat, and 2, we could have him getting the seat. And in all aspects, it's going to change a lot of things domestically and across the continent. Number 1, it's going to revive or reshape our foreign policy, because for a long time we have participated or created a certain policies that perhaps continue to seclude us from the rest of Africa, and also it doesn't really augur well with very many parts of the continent. So having that seat then reshapes how we interact with all the other African countries, and also what things we're going to do, especially even in the East African region, where we realize that there's this intrinsic fear about Kenya from the other member states of the EAC, in terms of how we... I think it's something to do with who we are. Like, we are aggressive, I don't know what, and that makes everybody... if a Kenyan is in the room, so you have to be aware. I mean, what is he going to do next?
I think that's interesting. Let's get a bit more of the traits of Kenya, if you say. I've heard we're a big brother. We don't want to say the mature one, but when you gave us a hint, we're interested to hear more. Aggressive, what else do they say?
Yeah, and sometimes we tend to bulldoze our way through things without really caring what other nations think or feel about us. And that cultivates a silent resentment towards the country. So if we clinch that seat, then it takes us back to the drawing board to refigure how we interact with these other countries. And then secondly, it's about our domestic politics. Definitely the outcome, any outcome from AU signifies an exit of Raila Odinga from Kenyan politics.
Any outcome?
Any outcome. Because it's going to be...
Although I doubt that.
Yeah, I'm finding it difficult how we lose in Addis and then Baba comes and tells us again, vijana oi.
Let me come back to you. I just want you to hold it there. This must, I know you want to reject, but allow me to hear from Daktari Samuel Kitilewa. And you've heard what they have said in the opening remarks. The best you told us at the beginning was you feel happy, but now they have picked it up in a momentum, saying that there's 2 ways. He loses or he wins. According to Alenga, either way, he's going to be out of, the politics here. This must be saying politics will change largely. An Orange Democratic movement will become a democracy. But what are your thoughts, really, even if it's not within the, the local politics? So far, we are seeing that we have Mohammed Ali Yusuf of Djibouti, who some Kenyans are supporting. And look at this profile. Yusuf has been Djibouti's Minister for Foreign Affairs since 2005. He has been instrumental in positioning Djibouti as a strategic hub in the Horn of Africa. He advocates for strengthening the African Union's capacity to address continental challenges, emphasizing the importance of unity and collaborative action among member states. And we also have Richard of Madagascar. And a lot of it, we're seeing he has served as Madagascar's Minister of Economy and Finance from 2019 to 2021. And of course, also as Foreign Affairs briefly. I don't know, look at this against Raila Odinga's, portfolio. Yeah. And let us know if perhaps we should feel any of these 2 other candidates are a threat this far.
Yes, thank you so much, Anke Doris, for having me here. What I want to say is that Raila Odinga is a force to reckon with, not only in Kenya, but in the continent of Africa. And his name has become an icon in the global community. And I want to, opine an optimistic front that if all things being even, he should be able to clinch the chairmanship of the Africa Union Commission, because he has been fighting for democracy, not only in Kenya, but he's a true Pan-Africanist whose name has become a household, icon, or rather household. He has become a household name within the continent of Africa, and he has brushed shoulders with presidents and prime ministers and other leaders. So what I mean to say is he has what it takes to become the next African Union Commission chairperson. However, on the other hand, in a competition, there are only two probabilities. When you enter into a context, you will either win or lose. So from where I sit, he's got good chances of winning. And but just in case he does not win, I want to just say that he has had a profile which has made himself to be self-actualized. He is not looking for wealth, neither is he looking for wealth, for fame. He only wants to give back to the African continent. He only wants to give back to society with the skills and the charisma that he has carried over the years in fighting for democracy and fairness.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll come back to you because you said he's a true Pan-Africanist, and I'm going to be looking at the attributes of a true Pan-Africanist because we've had different definitions of Pan-Africanism as well, just among those who believe they're Pan-Africanists. Look, Raila Odinga pledged to fast-track economic transformation, enhance intra-African trade and infrastructure, financial independence, gender equity and equality, agricultural transformation, and climate action if elected the African Union Commission chairperson. I want to come back to Dismas because you've heard what Dr. Arya said. I mean, according to him, Raila Odinga has what it takes. He's not looking for fame, neither is he looking for some monetary value. He's just but wishing the best and, putting his foot forward for the African continent. In as far as that is concerned, what do you think?
It's actually, I think Mr. Raila Odinga has gotten to the level of self-actualization. So, I mean, one would be naive to say that he's looking for this job because he wants to buy a piece of land in Karen and put up a house, or buy a Mercedes or a top-of-the-range vehicle. He's gotten at the top of the, self-actualization. If you recall the Maslow hierarchy of needs, is at the topmost, so it's self-actualization. Then number two, over time he has demonstrated capacity and competence that he is in fact fit for the role. This is a gentleman, if he gets to the office on Monday morning, he does not need briefing notes to understand what is happening in DRC, what is happening in South Sudan. He can actually hit the ground running, and he commands respect from his voters, the heads of state and government. They know him, most of them on a first name basis, so they actually understand him. That is number one. So there's no doubt. In fact, I would even venture and say that the other two candidates who are running against Raila Odinga are not his peers. Like, for instance, one of these candidates who's been the Foreign Affairs Minister for 20 years, one may want to ask, have they ever had a democratic election in that country? Do they understand what democracy is? Do they understand what, freedoms are? So as to tell us that he's going to reform the Africa Union. And one of his key attributes, I mean, the gentleman from this country called Djibouti, is that he speaks many languages.
Right.
So I don't know whether speaking many languages can really translate to these serious capacities. So in my view, he's fit for the role. In the unlikely event he doesn't get the job, it's not because he's not qualified, but it's because the voters have taken another view. And then what the colleague on my left said that
yes.
It doesn't matter the outcome of the election, that Raila will be a spent force. Raila enjoys one thing that majority of politicians crave for. When you've got your supporters who are emotional and irrational. Raila's word to his supporters is low. When he tells them jump, they don't ask why, they ask how high. That is why he's able to move goalposts at his pleasure.
Is it? This did not change even with the Gen Z, protests?
You remember during the Gen Z protest, in the middle of it, when he said he's offering a number of experts from ODM to join the administration, as soon as he made that pronouncement, people from his support base said there are no more demos. People called for a demonstration, but the people in Kisumu, Migori said, wait a minute, why are you doing these demos? We have given the administration some experts, give them time to settle down and sort out issues. That is a craving for every single politician. Not just limited to Mr. Raila Odinga. If you look at the US today, Trump has got emotional and irrational supporters. When he says, I'm going to start a tariff war, which will translate to high cost of goods and services, everybody's saying, no, if Trump is said he's going to do it, then we sit in a very good place. Then he also raised a very fundamental point about the way Kenyans behave in the region. Majority of us have got challenges appreciating cultural competence. When you go to Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, anywhere in the world, you must understand the local dynamics.
Right.
Like for instance, in Kenya, if you go to a bar, you can just tell the barmaid, madam, let us ask baridi. But if you go to another country, you use that kind of a tone, people will look at you, they say, maybe they'll even recommend for a medical examination because they think you're I mean, when you see Kenyans going to Tanzania, you go to your bar, your local bar, hey, madam, nimechelewa, let a beer haraka. The barmaid will give you the beer. But if you go to Tanzania, you go to Rwanda, you go to Burundi, you do like that, people will say, wait a minute. So it's very useful for Kenyans to appreciate that while you may have probably the most powerful military in the region, powerful economy, and a very solid political system, but when you go to another country, you must understand the dynamics. And the reason why majority of Kenyans want Mr. Raila Odinga to now go to AUC, I saw today is running in top of the range vehicles, and people at his beck and call, is first of all ODM. That you are close to Raila Odinga, then you are seen with Mama Ida Odinga or Roburu Odinga, and then people in the village say that is the guy that will become a chapter in history books. Secondly, it's going to give room to other candidates now to come and run for presidency, because he has suffocated people.
Suffocated is a strong word?
Yeah, suffocated them.
Okay.
If you are in ODM and you want to be president of Kenya, do you think you would run on ODM? That is how Musalia Mudavadi left. That is how William Samoei Ruto left. That is how Wetangula left, to go and form their own political parties. Because while you say ODM is supposed to be by democracy, in fact, it's not. ODM and Raila, they are synonyms. ODM and Raila Odinga. This time around, it's going to be free. And then you have these other candidates who will emerge. You've heard of Dr. Fred Matiang'i. You've heard of other people who are positioning themselves.
All right.
These powerful politicians will not come up if Raila is still in the race.
Interesting. Just shows the magnitude. But I want to hear from Alenga. But